Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thanks for joining us for our special update on New Zealand, especially with the rain that's coming in over the next few days. And if you're a viewer in Australia, we're taking a look at a westerly change coming in for you. But let's take a look and see what's going on at the moment in the New Zealand area. We've got a special update on what is going on in the South Island. So we've got this atmospheric river forming out here, and it's kind of what it sounds like. It's a valley in the sky full of moisture, and that's coming out of the tropics right off the top of the screen here, straight on down and into the South Island. And the rainfall totals around Nelson are just west of there, towards Golden Bay, Takaka area. They're quite alarming at the moment. The rainfall totals we've got for places like Takaka, around about 100 millimetres or more today, and then 200 millimetres or more on Wednesday. So that's a huge total, and there could be 500 millimetres down at sea level or more over the next 4 or 5 days. Now, Met Service have just updated their warnings, and they are predicting over 800 millimetres potentially in the ranges around that part of the South Island, this northwestern corner right here. So this is why you're hearing a lot of updates about what is going on in the New Zealand area, an exceptional amount of rain. Yesterday the headline was over half a metre of rain. Today's headline is it could be closer to 1 metre up in the mountains. So let's take a closer look at the rainfall. This is the next 24 hours. And in orange and reds, which you'll see in a moment, that's highlighting where the heaviest rain will be. So right here on the west coast, and then also up here around Golden Bay. Show that animation again. This is just the next 24 hours, and the heaviest rain really kicks in beyond that later through Wednesday. So tomorrow's update on Wednesday might be a little bit more interesting. But this is the area up here where we're going to see some very big totals. So it's west of Nelson in that Golden Bay, Takaka area where the totals could be, as I say, 500 millimetres or more down at sea level and over 800 millimetres up in the mountains. Exceptional amount of rain. And you're seeing those big totals all the way down the west coast. The better news for the west coast, seeing these bigger totals further down the coastline is better. There are fewer populated areas, and more importantly, the geography can cope with that rain a lot more. The terrain can, so it drains out a lot easier. Up here it doesn't so well. Here's the rainfall map through till midnight this coming Saturday. So what it's showing you is the heaviest rainfalls in the dark blue. That is right along the scale here. Now, this is only for the next few days ahead, and it goes off the scale. We are talking here in this northwestern corner and down around here above 500 millimetres over the next few days. And up in the North Island, still some heavy falls as well. In that zone, you're in the 100 to 150 millimetre mark. The purple indicating 100 millimetres, which you're sort of seeing in some areas. Elsewhere, the totals are a lot more reasonable. So one question we got yesterday, why is Nelson getting the rain when the North Island's not getting it as badly and it's coming out of the north? Well, it's a simple equation. If it's coming straight in from the north, there's no land. The South Island's a lot further west than the North Island is. A lot of people forget that. And also a lot of people forget that the top of the South Island's well north of the lower part of the North Island. But anyway, it's only going to go through a bit of Cape Reinga. That's not an obstacle to stop those rain clouds, and that's why you're seeing those big totals. And on top of that, the way the mountains are sort of U-shaped in here, that holds up the rain, just like the mountains along here on this angle are also holding up the rain as it comes in as a northerly. So let's take a look at the forecast, and here we are for Wednesday. You can see that atmospheric river coming straight on down. Now there's a big wall of high pressure to the east, a line of low pressure in the Tasman, and then the next big high out here over Australia, where, by the way, you've got that windy nor'wester ahead of the westerly. So there we go. We mentioned Australia. I'm well aware we've got viewers there. But anyway, this video is a lot about New Zealand. So the big strong winds on Wednesday, they'll be gusting to gale force in some northern parts. Probably not too problematic, but there could be a few power cuts. And you can see that rain starting to accumulate now around the Nelson area and down around the west coast. As we move into Thursday, that heavy rain remains around the Nelson, Takaka area, Golden Bay area. You're also seeing now some of that northerly wet weather feed into North Island places as it all starts to slide further out to the east. So that northerly flow is through here, and it lines up with Coromandel, parts of Northland, Bay of Plenty, but also the upper part of the South Islands. And if you're down in the lower part of the country, you've got the best weather of the week. As we move through to Friday, the weather might actually ease a little bit in the early hours of Friday around that northwestern corner. But unfortunately, with this low out here, it's still dragging down all this moisture. more rain clouds are returning as we go through Friday and into Saturday. And the rain clouds in the North Island, not so bad, and the winds also now starting to ease. The westerly change in Australia pushes through, temperatures dropping just a little bit around Melbourne. Now, as we go into the weekend, that low in the Tasman just gets a little bit of energy and it pulls in more rain. That's why Nelson is still being highlighted with that green and yellow shading. More heavy rain coming through for you as we go into the weekend, and again on the west coast, and quite blustery in some areas as well. Bit more spring-like maybe as they start to tilt a little bit more west to northwest. And over in Australia, a colder southerly definitely coming through now for Victoria and Tasmania, even getting into New South Wales as the next big high starts to roll on through. And we get to Sunday, the low crosses over the South Island. In comes a more, I'll say a wintry southerly as it comes into the lower South Island, and that's exactly what you want to hear if you live in the north of the South Island, because southerlies are a lot drier. So that change is coming through on Sunday. The North Island's still got westerly winds for the most part, and that high pressure zone in Australia drifting out, heading closer towards New Zealand. But we've got all these windy westerlies, which I think are also going to head on in towards the country as well. So there we go, quite a lot going on at the moment. We've got detailed information. This is the rural weather website that we have, ruralweather.co.nz. Look at these totals. This is Takaka Valley. Today, 106 millimetres. Tomorrow, 177. And I think these are being a little conservative. We're seeing totals that are greater than that. Thursday, another 77 millimetres. Friday, 45 and another 40 on Saturday. And then it finally tapers off. But even then, there's still another, a bit of rain on the way in the showery weather coming up. So we're not completely out of the woods just yet. So go to ruralweather.co.nz if you need more information. That is all from me. We'll be back again tomorrow, Wednesday, with our next update. Stay safe.